All right, so I'll introduce you to my dear chat. So this is Clausius. So
Hello.
what I can tell about you, you're a professional Go coach, right?
Yes, I am not a professional Go player, but I am a professional teacher. I make my living teaching Go.
Okay.
Um,
I have to confess, I've never played Go. Never.
uh,
All my knowledge is from this movie, The Beautiful Mind, was it?
mhm.
Yeah, I think so. That's it. So.
Have you heard of Alphago? Google's DeepMind bot?
Yeah, this program. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. How
So-
did they beat the strongest player in Go? I think I read some headlines.
Yeah, so AlphaGo kind of gave Go this big boom and let everyone know, like, hey, this is a game that exists. But yeah, before that, like, not many people knew what it was. Barely, like, even chess players might have seen it, but it was more common for like a computer scientist to know what Go is than a chess player. And now it's like, oh, hey, there's this chess players actually know what this thing is. Like, finally, we could actually have a conversation with them, and they might understand that, hey, we're like-minded individuals. We both play board games that everyone thinks is a nerdy hobby, and we just dedicate our lives to it. And yeah, about a little bit about my history is I've been playing Go since like 2007. And I was in high school and I was watching too much anime, and I watched this anime called Hikaru no Go. And then it was about this kid who just learned how to play this board game. I was like, that board game looks cool. And as a kid, I copied everything that I saw in anime. I have yet to go Super Saiyan though, and I have yet to been able to do alchemy like Fullmetal Alchemist, but I was able to be a Go player, and that was cool. So I did that, and then I never stopped. And here, like 14 years later, I'm actually doing this as my living.
So how many years does one need to spend to, let's say, learn Go at okay level?
Yeah, I mean, never.
Okay, I see. It's the same in chess.
Okay. Yeah, so I've been trying to like understand like chess rankings a little bit more, and I think a good example would be like with the average chess player who just plays casually and for fun at their local club be able to beat like the top players in the world? No, never, right? And the hard thing about Go is there isn't an environment for Western players or English-speaking players to become a professional at the Asian level, because Asia's been doing this for hundreds of years and we've been doing it for like 100 years or less.
Okay.
So we just don't have the environment for it yet. Like it's hard to even like with chess you can just go to a chess club, but with Go it's like, oh no, you have to make your own Go club and teach people how to play.
Right. Well, all right. I mean, what I can say about chess. So chess has been, at least for me, a huge part of my life. I've been playing chess since age 9. I never really imagined I'm gonna be a professional, but now I am. So
Awesome.
I'm a full-time chess professional, chess player, chess coach, author, and now
So you're
also
a professional player, correct? You compete and earn money?
Yep,
That's awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I wanted to do that.
pre-COVID.
It was just too hard.
Pre-COVID times, definitely. So I've played against some of the best players in the world. Yeah, so I'm not obviously as good as them. So there is like the scale. I don't know, in Go, I understand you have like these dans, right? I don't know. The more dans you have, the stronger you are, right? It's something like that.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, in chess?
Pretty much.
Yeah, in chess, there are titles. So there's those first titles don't matter. Then there's FIDE Master. Then there's International Master. And then there's Grandmaster. So Grandmaster in chess, that's like a black belt. So that's like a black belt in karate. Well, okay, I have the Grandmaster title, and the highest only is the world champion, naturally. But there's so many grandmasters in the world. There's something like 1,000 grandmasters. So it's an insanely high contested game. So it's very, very difficult. And in order to get to the top, you just need to study, I don't know, since the young childhood, have super talent and a lot of resources. It's the chess has developed so much in the past years. And yeah, now online it's booming.
That's cool. Yeah. I also saw like the chess Twitch channel like exploded into popularity in recent years.
Yeah, it's probably because of obviously the COVID stuff moved online, and there's Hikaru Nakamura, the top streamer of chess. He has something like 1 million followers, 1.2 million followers.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that like a board game player has got that many followers.
that is insane. I still remember, by the way, there was this one day when I think there was some PogChamps match between Rubius, a super big streamer, against who was it, XQC, I think. There was something like 300,000 people watching chess at the same time, so it was more than GTA 5 and what was it, League of Legends. So I thought, oh my goodness, what is happening? What the world is getting? I mean, this is crazy.
Allow.
Now I'm gonna invite you to a session. Just a second. Theoretically, it should work. Let me. There you go. Do you have a pop-up or something?
Yeah, accept.
Just accept it. Okay, there we go. Just a sec. Let me. There we go. Let me make a move. Do you see it?
Yours looks so much better than mine. Mine's all green and white, and yours is like brown and nice looking.
I'm a GM. What do you want?
Is it geo privileges? You get nicer go board or chessboards. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm just gonna block.
Okay.
Block. Why?
Oh, that's good.
Why is it upside down? Do I not get my own perspective?
I don't know. I guess you can.
There we go. I can flip.
Want.
Yeah, I want to flip because I want to be at the bottom. I don't know. It feels weird when I'm not at the bottom.
All right. What do you want to know? Because I can teach you so many things.
A very, very, very simple opening that I can
very simple opening.
Something that gives me direction that I can branch out off of.
I'll explain you maybe where the chess is heading, so that you understand. Chess has the evolution of chess in the last 100 years. It's been dramatic. So something like 100 years ago, people used to play chess like I take material, I sit in a passive defense. Let's say I snatch a pawn in the opening, I'm sitting passively in the defense, and then I try to capitalize on that. Modern chess, it's built on initiative. So initiative is we are attacking all the time. So every single best player in the world, they're freely sacrificing material like a pawn, an exchange. So let's say an exchange that would be sacrificing a rook against a light piece just to create some problems for the opponent. So normally chess as a game is a drawn game. So there's no way around it. I mean, if both sides play perfectly, it's a draw. I mean, I could play against the world champion. If I'm not making any mistakes, he'll never outplay me, never. So it's always about creating practical problems, pushing the opponent to the time trouble when he's supposed to find the right solution in a very short time frame, or just invite him to a very complex position. So about the opening, I suggest you to play first for the center.
The center being those 4 squares in the center, right?
Yeah, so this is the center. So this is the center in chess, those 4 squares. And of course there are openings here like B3, there's something like G3, C3, there's so many weird openings, but I suggest to play something solid. Many people start with the queen's pawn. Have you, by the way, seen the Netflix series Queen's Gambit?
I've saw several episodes of it, yeah.
Okay. So the Queen's Gambit is D4, D5, C4. And if black accepts, that's the so-called Queen's Gambit. The King's Gambit, it starts with the King's pawn, so that's a king. So that's the King's Gambit. But unfortunately, comparing with the Queen's Gambit, it's not so popular. So I guess we're not going to see a Netflix series about that. Right. So about the opening, let's say E4, E5 is good. Now, I suggest always follow a main principle. Develop every single piece just once. Try not to move the same piece more than once. Okay. So let's say I'll start with knight f3. It's a good move, developing move. I'm developing my pieces. I'm attacking the pawn on e5. After knight c6, bishop e5. This is the called Rye Lopez Opening. By the way, it's quite interesting. I'm not sure if you have it in Go. We have titles for openings.
Some openings have names, but it's not nearly as many or as popular as chess. Like Go is more focused on the middle game. The opening is just like a setup, I guess.
Okay, okay. Yeah, so we have lots of titles. So this is the Rye Lopez. The Rye Lopez has many subtitles. There is the exchange variation. There's the Berlin system. There's the Archangelsk variation. There's so many titles, and usually they're attributed to the persons who did something to research this line. So there is, for example, Sicilian opening, Sicilian defense, a Sveshnikov variation. And Sveshnikov is a legendary chess grandmaster. He invested a lot of time in this opening, thus this opening is called Sveshnikov variation. But time passes, somebody makes new contributions to that opening, and suddenly they call it in that title. So it's always changing. Yeah, so Rye Lopez is a very, very old name.
Gotcha. So it's just whoever like has success with it recently.
Yeah. So bishop e5. Yeah, normally black plays something like a6, targeting the bishop. And I think you can get better in chess if you understand some of the most important principles. And the principles is bishops are normally better pieces than the knights, because bishops are stronger when the position is going to open. So let's say we have an open position, we have no central pawns, we have two bishops against two knights, they're stronger pieces. Why? Because I'm controlling half of the board. So the rule is that if the position is opening, we want to preserve our bishops because they have this potential striking the long diagonals. And the same applies vice versa. So if you have two knights, you want to keep the position closed, because in closed positions, the knights can maneuver quite a lot, and the bishops very often in closed positions feel helpless. So that's here another important rule why we don't want to take on c6, because let's say if I take it, that's a known trap. Bishop takes, d takes, let's say there's a free pawn, knight takes on e5. It's not a good move, although bishop takes on c6 is playable. Here black plays queen d4, double attacking the knight and the pawn. So I have to retreat, I guess. Queen e4, check. Queen e2, trade. And now we can compare the results. So the position is semi-open. We just gave our opponent a bishop for no good reason. So that's a big no-no, right? I mean, this happens, of course, at amateur level, but usually people who have studied chess, they follow these rules, and there's so many rules, and you are improvising, seeing at which moment you can apply which rule. But the difficult part gets when they conflict. So there's like one rule, it conflicts directly against the other rule. And this is when the mastery of the player comes in, and you feel, based on your intuition, you calculate, but mostly it's about your accumulated skills over the years. You feel what is the right solution. So your intuition says what you have to calculate. So that's how typically it is in chess. So I say, okay, this is bad. I mean, I just don't want to calculate this. The position is open. I don't have two bishops. No, I'm looking for something else. Okay, this is an opening phase. I know this, but that's how typically good players are thinking. So instead of this,
okay, so to see if I'm following, in open positions, bishops are better, but in closed position, knights are better because they can jump over stuff. And then there's a lot of rules, but when rules conflict, it's up to your intuition and experience.
There are probably some rules which have high priority, and I think on top of it is the king's safety. So the king is your protective detail. I mean, you need to protect it, right? I mean, you cannot leave it wide open. Sometimes there are some exceptions when you're using the king as a piece. Now, this is a very, very complicated topic. We're not going to talk about this right now. But normally, you have to build a brick wall in front of the king, just like this, and just keep it safe. Right. So bishop e5, let's say bishop e5, a6, bishop a4. Unfortunately, we wasted the tempo for the bishop. But, I mean, opponent also wasted the tempo on a6, so I guess it's okay to retreat. Now, let's say black plays something like knight f6, attacking the pawn. We play just d3, we protect. Opponent again is trying to spend a single tempo.
What if I had gone b7 to b5? Isn't that making the...
It's possible. It
Okay.
is. It is possible. That would be another line, quite a popular line, but
That's a line that usually happens at my level. When I try to use the bishop, they just push me back, and I'm like, I'm touching this piece too many times, or something.
I imagine here black would be sort of concerned about the well-being of the pawn on e5. So you can, let's say here white just played d3. Now you're concerned. Now there is bishop takes on c6. There's bishop c6. There's knight e5, and you don't have this queen d4, right? Because remember, this queen d4, the pawn is protected now by the pawn.
Okay.
So instead of this, I imagine a careful person, if he doesn't know the theory, there's still a lot of theory. So he wants to play something like d6. I just protect the pawn and continue development. So if I know no theory here, I'm trying to follow the same rule. Every single piece is moving just once. Okay, bishop b5, bishop a4, that's a slight exception. Maybe I should have shown you a different opening. But okay, I choose the one of the oldest openings.
Okay.
And here, let's say I know nothing what's happening. I'm castling. And I think it's a great idea to castle as quickly as possible. But I suggest you to make up your mind. Where do you want to castle? Because you can castle both ways. You can castle long. You can castle short. So short castle, that is the conservative way. I mean, if you just want to play some normal chess in the park, just play short castle. If you're looking for some kind of adventure, the adventures normally start with a long castle because you're normally positioning the king on the other side where your opponent is going to position his king. So let's say I'll show you an example how an attack in chess is developed. Let's say instead of the castle, let's say I'm just playing knight c3 and developing a knight. Should be good. Bishop e7. Let's say I don't know what's happening here. Bishop e3. It's not a good move, but whatever. I'll just develop a piece. And now black makes a castle. So if you're looking for an attack in chess, you're looking for a way to generate initiative, what do? You castle the king the opposite side. So it's something like queen d2. Queen e2 doesn't really matter. Let's say the opponent, whatever, develops a piece, a long castle, and that's it. You have the entire king side at your disposal. You are moving everything towards the black king. Your opponent essentially is going to do the same at the queen side. So what is the queen side? What is the king side? I apologize about that, about those terms.
The starting points, right?
You know that?
Yeah, the queen side is like on this board.
Is the queen side.
It was to be
this
the right
is the queen
side.
side.
Oh,
This
so
is
it's
the
just
queen.
the bottom right corner.
Now everything that is to the what is it, to the left is the queen. That is the queen side where the queen stands. Everything that is to the right, that is the king side. So that's how when I'm talking about somebody about what's happening in the game, I have this big attack at the king side. So okay, I understand it now that you're talking about this quadrant where the black king is hiding. So I'm proposing to start an attack at the king side, and normally every single attack starts by pushing forward the pawns. So let's say our opponent is oblivious. He doesn't know what's happening, and he sees, oh my goodness, my opponent is just gonna start this big deadly attack. I mean, what should I do? I should defend. So he starts to defend. Let's say he plays king h8, for whatever reason. h3, knight g8, he's overly concerned, there's a big attack. g4, h6, yet another bad move. Rook g1. Your plan is just get to the black king. You're opening some files, you're opening some diagonals, you're trying to get to the black king, you're trying to create some threats. And in chess, it's very rarely, at least at the good level, there's very rarely like, there's mate in 5. It doesn't happen like that. You slowly build up. You slowly build up your chances to checkmate the opponent, because in game of chess, the game ends when you checkmate the opponent. That's it. That's game over. But normally, people resign. So let's say we are playing a game of chess. I'm playing against a competitive player. He can even resign when he's down a piece. So he resigns. It's a resignation. It means I understand I'm busted. I understand I have no chance against you. So let's not waste my time. Let's not waste your time. So I'm just resigning. For example, I think that's a very nice comparison with some sports. Let's say tennis. You cannot resign, right?
Yeah.
You are playing this hopeless match against, let's say you're playing against Federer. You're just playing a Grand Slam first round tournament, first round against Federer. You're down 0-6, 0-6. The third set is 0-4. What do you want to play? I just want to resign, but you cannot resign. You have to play.
I played tennis in college. At that point, it was like, I want just 1 point, dang it. Because you have to finish.
I just want to resign without the game. I mean, I have no chance there. But in chess, you can do that actually, because you just blunt, okay, whatever, I just resign. So it's so easy. You're not being tortured anymore. And yeah, of course, in other sports, in football, that's impossible. How can we just resign, right? We are losing 0-3 after 15 minutes. We just quit. Okay, we just walk away. Yeah, that's impossible. So continuing about this game, we're just looking for ways to get to the black king. Something like, I don't know, f6, h4, I don't know, something ridiculous. King h7, g5. And around this moment, it should be already quite apparent that white, we call it, white has a very dangerous attack. So we have some open files, we have some open diagonals, there's some threats, and essentially we're trying to get to the black king. Let's say he's helping us, we just want a piece, h takes, there's a pin, and eventually we're going for the mate, and maybe the opponent in the end ultimately blunders it. So that's it. So that's the very basic principle how we are playing chess. We just want to checkmate our opponent's king. And now that you wind back things, how did this happen? Where do you think was the mistake? What black did?
Defense without aggression.
Defense against aggression. And this is exactly the difference how chess has changed over the past 100 years, because people used to play so defensive. You couldn't imagine, I mean, how chess is being played today. This is insane. So there's two crazies playing against each other. One of them is attacking at one side, the other guy is attacking at the other side. There's a complete bloodshed, pieces are flying left and right, and I finish with something like a perpetual. The kings are walking in the middle of the board, and that's a high-level chess. So that's how chess has developed. It's no more longer a one-sided game. One guy is attacking, the other guy is just sitting in the washing, being annihilated. Everybody knows how to defend, everybody knows how to attack, and this is how chess is playing at the highest level. So if you go back to this game, where black did started to go wrong, he started to go on the defensive. So what he should have done, do exactly the same what white is doing to him, attack at the queen side. So let's say I'm preparing this big attack at the king side. Black can do the same. So I can play b5. I can even sacrifice maybe a pawn on b5, a4, something like a3. Let's say white doesn't know what's happening here. Let's say something like queen b8, and force our opponent to think about defense. And ultimately, people who are attacking, they're scoring much better than those who are sitting passively. So that's it.
All right. So Go is a bit different than chess. It uses the same parts of your brain, but it's completely different rules. Chess is about different pieces that move in different ways, but with Go, it's just black and white stones. And then once you place a stone, it never moves. It can be removed, but it doesn't move. So to start off, you play on the intersections, and then once that stone is placed, it's placed. You can't really move it or do anything with it. And the goal of Go is to surround area or territory, and whoever has the most area at the end of the game wins. Right?
Oh, so that's sort of a domination, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. Okay. So the trick, though, comes in with the capture rule. So the capture rule is basically states that any stone that does not have what's called liberties, or which are basically like your lifelines, will be captured. So these lines connected to your stone are basically like your lifelines or liberties. If you lose those, then your stone will be captured. And then it goes into your captures. So your goal is to move around the board surrounding area without getting captured. So what I want to start out with is just to get you to understand this capture rule. So for example, if I play like this, how many liberties do these two black stones have?
I have no clue.
So how many lines are touching them?
Which one? This one?
So these two are connected through a line, so they share their liberties. So how many lines are touching these stones?
How many lines? Do I have to count around them?
Mm-hmm. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh.
So it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Ah, wait a second. Okay, I don't count the corners.
You don't count the corners.
Okay.
There's no line right there, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Perfect. All right. And what about here's a little tricky one. What about this one? How many lines?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
okay.
6, 7.
All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so you didn't fall for the 8 because even though it's 2 lines, it's only 1 move. So it's actually still 7.
Ah, it's the 7. Okay, I knew it.
Yeah, awesome. Now, this one is where a common mistake is. You're not connected diagonally. There's no line there, right? So if you go here, they're actually not connected. So I can still just capture you like this.
Right.
So
guys, I'm not in pain. I mean, I'm trying to learn it. I'm just trying to learn. I just like completely new science here.
Yeah. So do you understand the lines? Like this is the liberties. This is just the first thing you have to learn.
The liberties, that's slightly difficult term for me. The lines, okay, I get it.
Okay, so lines. And so when you connect through the lines. So for example, when you're like this and diagonal, there's no line, so they're not connected. If you wanted to connect, you would connect here or here, so they're connected through the lines. Connected. Yeah. Now you know how your chat feels. Now you know how your chat feels.
Now you know how chess novice feels. I feel exactly like that.
Yeah. So, the idea of capture is stones. Without lifelines get captured. Stones, in order to save them, for example, let's say you're like this, and you have 1 lifeline, right? This is actually known as Atari. Do you know the game company Atari?
By name only.
Right, so they actually named their company after this term. Atari means you are 1 move away from getting captured. So you have 1 lifeline left, or 1 liberty left. So
what I don't understand is this concept of the lifelines, because all I see is white and black pieces, and now suddenly some of them have this circle over them. I don't understand.
The circle just shows the last move. You don't have to worry about the circle. That's just like where the last move was played.
Okay.
Sorry, I didn't realize the circle. So yeah, in the center, so you have 3 white stones surrounding the black stone. So they're blocking the lines, correct? So now let's say you wanted to save the triangle stone. Okay? How would you save it? You're black, you want to save it. How would you save it?
So if I want to save it, obviously I don't want you to allow the position the piece here, and I just what did I do?
So you started playing your own variations. If you click the little,
I made a suicidal move there.
If you play a little refresh, there's a refresh icon above the move branches.
Sync. Oh, yeah, there you go. Sync. So I want to avoid you to place the white piece here.
No, I can't see what you do. So if you could just tell me the coordinate.
Okay, again. So it's the coordinate F5. So that's correct?
Yep. So if you place a black stone at F5, now these 2 stones are connected to the lines, and they share the liberties or lifelines. So now you have 3. All right. So now we're gonna put it to the test. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna have you play someone in your chat, and we're gonna play on a 5x5 board. this board will be basically a capture go game. So the capture go game is going to be, we're just going to make the rule that if someone gets captured, that person loses. That's it. That's the capture go rule.
Just one piece.
One or more pieces. It doesn't matter how many pieces you capture. If it's just 1 or 5 or whatever, if something gets captured, you lose. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So it's like a mini game to teach you capturing. All right, here you go. Here you go. Perfect. Oh, they challenge you on a 9x9. It's okay. 5x5. There's a little bit better for brand new players, but it's okay. It's not that big.
There's a counter.
Mm-hmm.
Black wins.
They did the wrong time settings. I'll send you a challenge. It's okay. They give you 10 seconds sudden death.
Challenge received. Okay. Oh my goodness, so small.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So now you have every chance to win. All you have to do is just understand Liberties. Okay. So where do you think you should start?
Center.
All right.
I think it makes sense.
So I'm gonna try to take a liberty. What do you think you should do?
Do you see, by the way, if I'm moving my arrows? You're not seeing it, right?
No, we don't have arrows in.
Okay. I'll try to surround you.
Okay. I'm going to connect and run away because I'm getting surrounded.
I'll still try to surround you.
All right, but now you see how you're on the edge.
What does it mean?
How many?
Oh, wait a second. On the edge, you also can capture me.
Yes, on the edge you have less lifelines.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why we're playing 5x5 to teach you all these things.
Okay. So I guess I have to know defend.
And boop. And I win.
What on earth? Wait a second. It's a card.
Okay.
Black wins.
So let's look at it. So I'm gonna click review this game.
Review started.
And you can just join the review. It should pop up in chat.
It's top of what? Where?
It'll pop up in
review.
the...
Yep. I see.
All right. So you play in the center. Best move. Okay. I play and you play. So this is actually really good. What you're doing is you're taking my liberty, and if I go down, you just keep taking my liberty. And then, as you saw in this game, if you trap them against the edge, they have like nowhere to go. Where do they go? They can't go anywhere, right? So I ran away from the edge. And why did I run away from the edge? Well, you said it yourself at the start. The center. You have all kinds of places to go. You have 4 liberties. Right. But now look at the edge. Boom, boom, boom. You only have 3.
So I have to take the edge first.
No, you should not take the edge first, because you have less lifelines. Now look at the corner.
Oh. So, 1, for example, if I put it in the corner, so it's only 2 these liberties.
See what I mean? And so that is why when you played on the edge, I'm like, oh, a chance. He played on the edge. It's very dangerous to play on the edge. You should play on the edge last. You should instead push me to the edge, like this. Push me to the edge. Right? And then trap me against the edge, like so.
And a B1, I think that would be a good continuation there, right?
Yeah. And then this gets a little bit tricky. But black will win. Black will win. It gets tricky, but you'll have more space than white will. But do you kind of understand why you lost?
Yeah, I put it on the edge, and the first piece that I lost, I lose the game.
Yep. All right, let's try again. Right, we're gonna try to get you to win, because you as black.
No, don't give me a win. I want to win fair and square.
No. That's what I'm saying. Black will win if as soon as you get it. Black will win. I have no chance if you play correctly.
Wait, you already played, right?
I sent you the challenge.
No, what? That's my chat. That's my chat is playing against me. Just.
Oh, okay. That's fine. That's fine.
I have to finish this guy. Just a second.
Yeah, no worries.
Now I know everything here.
Yeah, there you go. Trap him against.
I'm playing against Darkslide, a member.
Perfect.
Do you see the game, by the way?
Yeah, I'm watching.
So how I'm doing?
So far, no mistakes.
Oh.
He disconnected you. Oh.
Wait, but that's not winning, right?
I can't say.
Wait.
I can't talk. Oh. You win!
Yes!
You won!
My first victory!
There you go. You won.
So it's until the first capture. That is on the small board, right? What happens? What happens when I'm playing on the big board? So,
All right, now it's time to step 2 for rules of go.
Let's do the real thing.
All right, so let me give you the review again. So we'll go back into the review. So there's the demo. Yeah, just go back into the demo that I had.
How do I do that?
I sent you a link again.
Okay.
All right, here you are. All right, so remember, the actual game is about surrounding territory, okay, surrounding area. So let's actually throw an example on the board. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, boom, 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 boom. And then boom, 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 boom. All right, let's look at how much black is surrounding. So in the corner, black has 1, 2, 3, 4 points surrounded. So he has 4 points of territory. Okay?
Okay.
On the edge, 4. The center, 4. What's the difference?
I don't know. It's 4, right?
1, 2, 3, 4 to get 4 points.
Ah, wait a second. You have spent less pieces to trap my 4.
Exactly.
So you're naturally interested to have what's happening in the upper right corner because it allows you to save time.
Correct. It's less moves because you're working with the edges of the board to surround territory. So we know that working with the edges, or in other words, the open corners, is more interesting, or is the most interesting. The second most interesting is the side, and the least interesting is the center. Okay. So the way we think about it is, okay, now I know the area of the board, but now how do I find the exact move? So let's look at this one. So this one, let's just ignore the fact that it has 3 liberties for a second, and just how much is it surrounding on the edge?
How much it's what? Surrounding what?
How much territory is it surrounding on the edge?
Not much. I mean, it's
0.
Yeah.
Yep, it's surrounding nothing. There's nothing under it, right? So we can consider this the deadline, because not only do we have 0 points of territory, we also have bad liberties. Okay, so let's move up a line. The second line. Second line is a little bit better. It has 4 liberties, but it only gets like 1 point at a time. So we consider that the losing line because it's just slow. Third line is actually where the territory happens. This is known as the line of safety and territory. Why?
So that's your center. This little X I see there. That's the center.
I don't see an X.
I just see artificial X. Like there's on C3, E5, G7, G3.
Oh,
E5.
the little dots.
Yeah, the little dots.
Okay,
that's
so the dots are actually have nothing to do with the rules of the game. It's to help you understand what line you're on. So Go players use the dots just for their eyes to see like how far away from the edge they are and like where they're at on the board. So it's more of just a quick mental assist, but it actually has nothing to do with the game technically. But the dots
so
are.
I don't want to obviously place anything after those dots, right? So that's like the last line. The last line. I don't want to do anything after that.
Well, I wouldn't think about the dots too much, because they technically have nothing to do with the game. They're just to like assist you with where to look. But the idea that I want you to get here is third line from the edge is a good line for surrounding territory. Fourth line from the edge is also a good line, but it's more for development than it is for security and territory. So it's like to develop a position. And then fifth line is too high because I can just place it under you at the third line. So an ideal position would be a third line and a third line. Third line goes up to the fourth line. Okay, so you have a third line going up to the fourth line and then back down to the third line to close it. And now you have control of this position. It's not finished yet, but you have control of it and it looks like a nice position. Does that kind of make sense?
Okay.
Well,
okay. I mean,
the idea is what does territory look like? And it looks something like this. Okay.
Yeah. So ideally, I want to trap everything that is gonna be in that territory. Okay.
Okay. So the ideal positions to start would be one of these 4 points in any of the corners. The reason for that is because if you just look at the square, that's the third line from the right side and third line from the bottom side. So it's called the 3-3 point. Okay. This is the 3-4. This is the other 3-4, and this is the 4-4. So all of them are working with a third and fourth line with the edges. So a game might look something like this. Like both players are starting the open corners, then you expand along the side, you expand along the side, expand along the side, and then now the open corners, open sides are done. And now you start going into the next stage of the game where you start pushing each other around. So like, I want to say, oh, he's getting too much, I want to push him down. So I might say, I'm going to go push your border. How do I know where the border is? Well, there's a line right there. Okay, and I want to push that line down. So what if I go like right here? If he ignores, let's say he did something else, then I'm going to push in. If he ignores, then I push in. If he ignores, I just keep taking it all away. So he needs to, what we call, block. Okay?
Okay.
And this is like a conversation like you're having. So you're like pushing, you're blocking, and then maybe white plays something, and then you push, and white blocks. And it's just that sort of, that's like the middle game combat, basically, is you pushing and blocking. That's what you want to learn from the small board. There's a lot more tactics beyond that, but right now I just want you to understand movement for making an area, and then pushing and blocking borders. Okay? That is pretty much all the basics you need on this one, aside from one more thing. And that is how to deal with people going inside your area and dealing with what we talked about, the capture stuff. So for example, what if I just place a stone right here? Like, oh no, that was your area, but he placed a stone inside. Well, if we take into account the capture rule, push it to the edge, 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 and it's got nowhere to go. Just push it to the edge, push it to the edge, push it to the edge.
And then everything goes.
Yeah, and then eventually he'll run out of place to go, and you'll just get you'll capture it.
Uh-huh.
So when they go inside, this is what we call like attack and defense. This is called an invasion. We're invading the section of the board that your opponent controls. And this is one of the difficult things is life and death right here. And you have to understand like how to push it to the edge and capture it. And then the last thing to look out for is these little cutting points on the second line. Remember, the second line is dangerous. Boop, 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 boop. You'll learn that as well. So these little tactics will come with practice. But what I want you to understand is how to start, how to make, how to make an area, how to push and block, and then you can learn how to deal with these invasions with practice. So with that, do you have any questions before we just have you practice with someone?
Yeah, the question is, I always thought I just started like connecting the pieces immediately. Can I just build like a brick wall?
Let's say you do that. Let's say I'm going for the open corners. Let's say you build a brick wall, and then I go, you build a brick wall, and then I go, and then you build a brick wall, and then I block, you build a brick wall, and then I block, you build a brick wall. Who's getting more?
Yeah, probably you.
Right.
So it makes sense to...
it makes it, the idea is
space.
You want to go for the efficient space first, and you want to surround space, and then you'll connect when you block. Because if you just move one at a time, it's just going to be too slow.
So I need to understand properly how to start, how to take more space, and then I'm seeking ways how to connect. I'm not connecting immediately, I'm connecting afterwards.
You don't really have to connect until you have to. You don't really connect until you have to, or until you're finishing the game.
So what happens if I make a mistake? I lose a piece. Let's say, okay, I blundered something, I lose a piece. Is there even such a thing like a sacrifice? I'm sacrificing
Oh yeah,
something?
for sure. Because pieces don't matter. The points matters. So, for example, you might sacrifice a piece to break into another area. Like sometimes we'll like sack a piece over here and force this stone to go around it, so that way we can go around it and get into this area. Like you know, there's all kinds of tactics and go. Like there's so many. But what I want you to start with is just how to make territory, how to push and block territory, and how to not die.
Okay.
Because if you can't move around the board, then no tactic will help. So it's just let's learn how to walk first, and then once you learn how to walk and stuff, then you can start learning more advanced tactics. So I would say if you wanna move or make a combination, so first you get stones in like the different areas of the board or whatever, and then you want to start learning how to have a relationship. And
how many moves it would take for you to recognize I'm a complete noob?
Probably one or two. Okay. But if you play like these first 3 moves, then I would think, okay, you're fine. But within 10 moves, I would figure it out.
Okay.
I mean, how long did it take you to realize that I'm bad at chess?
I guess when you allow this, when you play Bishop G4 in the game, okay, I understand.
Yeah.
Before that, it wasn't so clear.
Yeah, so it depends. Like the opening, you can look better than you are. The opening can be almost memorized. The opening is the only thing that repeats. And Go, there's because it's 19 by 19, right? So it's like 19 factorial plus captures, so it becomes an obscenely large number of moves. And it's so large that Go games actually never repeat, like ever. So the middle game will never be the same.
And chess is exactly the same, yeah. So chess is what, so many hundreds of years of history, and it's impossible to repeat the game. Opening phase, yes. Middle game, very similar, but there's never always the same.
Let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and send you a challenge first, just to show you how it'll look. And then we'll talk about how to finish the game, and then you'll place on a chat. Does that sound good?
Okay.
All right, so let me send you a challenge. This will be on the 9x9. Not ranked. 5 minutes, 30 seconds.
So are there some kind of additional limitations? For example, there is like a traditional set of rules, but we can modify, let's say, some handicaps, some
Yes, there
rules.
is a handicap system. It doesn't really matter for beginners, because if you don't know how to block territory, then all the stones in the world will help. But yes, we do have a handicap system. Basically, you can imagine placing black stones on all the dots, and then white plays first instead of black. So, like, if you place a black stone on all the dots, or what we call star points, then you will just have more stones to start with than I will.
Mm-hmm.
So we do have a handicap system. Probably you would need about 9 or more on this size, but on the 19 by 19, you probably need about 30 or so, maybe 30 or 40. I tried to teach my mom how to play, and I gave her like 50 something stones, and I still won. So, but the good news is beginners improve faster. Black does place first, by the way. Beginners improve faster. The beginners ranks improve the fastest. So you can easily go from like 30 stones to 9 stones in a couple of months, but from 9 stones down to like even game would take you like a couple years.
Okay. Okay, so I'll try to take more space. Can I do something like this?
Yep, but it is a little far from the corner, so I could invade you.
Yeah,
because that's third line from the left, but it's like fifth line from the top, so it might be a little difficult to block. But I'm gonna go open corners first, because that's my basics.
Okay, I'll try to, I don't know, take more space.
So you're on my side, though. So you see how far away you are from your stones? And how I'm playing on the bottom, but you were playing on the top?
But I want to be on counterattack.
Okay.
Attack your
No.
G4.
That's fine. I just want you to understand that you're not going for territory. You're taking territory at this point. You're not trying to make, you're taking. So I'm going to block the right side.
So you're now targeting my F3. How do we call these pieces? Do they have a name?
Stones.
Stones. Oh, stones.
Yeah.
Okay, stones. Simply stones.
Or you can also call it a group. Like a group of stones.
Group of stones.
So your F3 group or your F3 stone. Okay.
Is this good?
Yeah. You it's better to run up to the center than down to the edge where you get trapped. Okay, so you invaded me, so I'm gonna go invade you.
Okay.
Because
counterattack.
Something like that, yeah. But you took mine, so I'm going to take yours. Okay, so I'm going to expand. Okay. And I'm just going to be a little bit mean, because you're kind of like playing all over the place. So I'm going to just start disconnecting you.
But I can do the same.
Okay.
Okay, I'll try to connect, then I maybe sacrifice E7.
Okay,
it's perhaps not so important.
Okay, so I'll try to capture E7 by pushing it to the edge.
I'll sacrifice it.
Okay. So my C3 is getting lonely, so I'm gonna start expanding that a little bit. Let's just expand. Something simple.
So I'll try to cut off your G3, G4.
Okay, I'm gonna block my right.
Okay.
Okay, expand. Well,
So my idea is put around it, right? And then
Mhm.
all your G stones are mine. Okay. Okay. So a position on J5, that's not such a good idea, right?
J.
J5. Yeah. I just got the raid from the Loving Sun. Thank you for the raid. Appreciate that. We are just doing a go. It's not just related right now. Thank you for the raid. J5. Can I do that?
Yeah, you can do that. And I'll just block a J4.
Okay.
Just block my border.
Wait. I'm not capturing you. So I need. Okay. I thought I'm gonna surround you and then that's it. No, wait. You're pretty secure there.
Yeah, so you can surround stuff, but if I have space, it becomes difficult to capture. I don't want to talk about life and death right now, but because it's just complex. But if I have space, I'm probably gonna be alive. So as long as you can get surrounded, as long as you have space.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm gonna do the same thing.
I'll tell you honestly, I don't know what I'm doing here.
It's okay. I'm just blocking my corner and surviving. People are probably yelling at me because I'm playing some bad moves.
So F1, that's a bad move, right? Because that's the corner. I might lose it.
Well, no, because your F1 is connected to F2, which is connected to F3, which is connected to F4.
Oh,
Yep.
I see.
Okay, I'm going to just block.
What automatically happens? I mean, we fill the entire board, so then what?
So you're trying to push and block borders, right? So the game is finished when both players pass, but you don't pass until there's nowhere else to make or take points. So, like for example,
and then you calculate the points.
Mm-hmm. And there's two ways to count, which I'll explain. But first, I want to show you how to finish the game. Okay. So I'm going to let's just push the border. Push the border. Push the border. Now, do you see how the top right's done? We can't push each other anymore.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just gonna push. Oh, push to the edge. Okay.
That's a mistake.
Maybe.
Oh wait! Oh, bird! Ah! I forgot about it. You can take all of them. I thought they're protected. All of them. Oh.
They're not connected to your big line that has space.
Yeah, I didn't understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's okay. It just comes with practice. Okay, so I'm gonna push. You're gonna block.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I block. And now we only have 3 moves left. So the way I know that is because if you look at the borders of all the areas or territory, there's nowhere to push or block anymore. So the only spots left that isn't owned by a single color is E3, E4, and D4. Does that make sense? So we're just gonna fill those. We're just gonna put stones on the board. And now, is there anywhere else I can push you, or anywhere else you can push me?
No, you cannot.
Right.
So you're
at
just
this
filling
point,
the board.
Well, no. At this point, we would just pass. I could try and place a stone in here, but you just push me to the edge. I'm gonna die.
Okay.
So just push me to the edge. I can do
that.
Yep. Push me to the edge. Push me to the edge. Push me to the edge. Boom. Okay. See, that's how you deal with that. So I know that there's no more moves left, so I'm gonna click pass.
Pass.
So that's what I'm supposed to do now. Pass.
Yeah. So you can click the pass button.
Remove the dead stones.
And then we will just accept the score. And I'll explain how this counting works.
So 10 points. That's not so bad, right?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Okay. Okay. Now what do I have to do?
Click the accept remove stones.
Accept.
You
okay.
have won.
All right, and now I'm going to click review.
Review started.
And I'm going to explain how the counting works. Okay, so do you understand pushing and blocking borders?
Yep.
All right. So the way the counting works is we count up all the area. So like white has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 in the top left. 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay?
And you count all of the stones as well.
There's 2 ways to count. Okay? So I'm going to teach you the one that they do online, and then I'll teach you an easy one to do in person. Okay? So the one they do online is they count all of this, and do you see in the top right how it says 3 captures, 3 captures? Do you remember how you captured me on the in your area on the top right?
Okay.
You captured 3 stones. Those 3 stones will reduce my points. So you fill those 3 stones in. This is done automatically online, but you would take those captures and you place it, and so I lose 3 points. Okay.
So that's like a bonus. I'm naturally interested to capture a lot of pieces.
It's very nice. So basically, dying is bad because you lose points, but making territory is obviously going to be worth more. But dying is not good. Like
Okay.
if a group is killable, then you should try to kill it because it can be worth a lot. So in this case, I put the squares for yours, and then I have 3 captures, so I take away 3 squares, and so you would have 5. But it said 10. So let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I don't know what it was counting. Oh yeah, maybe the Comey or something. So that would be one way to count. Okay, so that one is the Japanese rules, basically. So now let's talk about the Chinese rules. The Chinese rules are much, much simpler to do in person. They're a little annoying to do online, though. So in Chinese rules, you say, okay, let's count the area first. So in Chinese rules, the captures don't matter. The captures, you just put them back, you just give them back to your opponent. Okay, so I'm going to count, then I'm going to count, I'm going to count, and I'm going to count, and then I'm going to add the stones on the board. So I'm going to count that, and I'm going to count that, and then I'm going to count that. So you count the area first, then you count the stones on the board. Same with black.
This makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm. So this one is easier for beginners. That way, you can actually try stuff in your own area. Like if you play in your own area for defense or something. In Chinese rules, you don't lose a point. In Japanese rules, you do. So as a beginner, I encourage you to play Chinese rules, not Japanese rules, simply because you don't lose a point for being a beginner, not understanding, right? But in Japanese rules, if you played a stone in here, you would lose 1 point of area, but you have 1 more stone. But the stones don't count in Japanese rules. They do in Chinese.
So imagine we are starting to play a game, and obviously at the start we need to know what kind of rules we're playing. So let's say, okay, we're going to play 5-minute game Chinese.
Technically, no. The difference in the rule sets are almost non-existent. In very rare situations, you'll have like 1 or 2 points difference. So yeah, you do want to know the rules, but it's not to the extent that it's super important, right? It's not going to change the result. Almost. It's very rare that it changes the result.
Yeah, by the way, I wanted to ask, is it possible that by Chinese rules I'm winning and by Japanese I'm slightly losing?
No, it's going to be the same result. Okay. But there are situations where the score will be like 1 point different or 2 points difference. And that's fine. But pretty much the result will be exactly the same. However, that's assuming both players know what they're doing. If you just start filling your own area and then black passes, and then white fills, and then black passes, and then white fills, and black passes, well, white's just losing points in Japanese rules. In Chinese rules, the score isn't changing. So Chinese rules is more beginner friendly. It doesn't punish you for playing bad moves because you just don't know.
So what happens if there's a draw? Is there a draw?
There is no draw. So
there's no draw.
I taught you how to count the board, but the next thing you need to learn is that white has bonus points for going second, because black and go has an advantage. Okay, but white has bonus points to make up for it. Do you see the 5.5 in the top right? Under the white square?
Yep.
That is called Comey. So I have an additional 5.5 points, and that 0.5 prevents ties. So under normal rules, the Comey is 6.5 points. In some rule sets, it'll be 7.5, but they'll have another like rule to make up for the extra point or whatever. It's complex and stupid, but there is bonus points for white, and it will even out the game, right? So it's either 6.5 or 7.5. This one it's 5.5 because 9x9, whatever. But on 19x19, it's usually 6.5 points. Let's say I wanted to give a 1 stone handicap, which means just I let you go, but I don't have the extra 6 points. So even in handicap games, white will have half a point Comey to prevent ties. You could also say that half point, it just says white wins ties. If both players have the exact same score, white wins.
Okay.
So that's another way to think about it. But that we have the half point, so ties are possible because of a very, very, very rare situation where you get a situation that will infinitely repeat, but it's extraordinarily rare, and ties almost never happen.
So what happens if it happens?
Then the game is considered a tie, and it depends on the tournament rules, but it's just a tie. But it's so rare, like I don't think I've ever done it.
You probably already know it. In chess, draw is so normal.
Yeah. Chess is like super common, and Go, like you could never tie, but
yeah,
it can happen. It's just really rare, like really, really rare. But basically it's a situation where if you get like 3 repeating patterns and you just keep going back in a loop, then it will be a tie. I'm not going to introduce the ko right now. I know a lot of people will talk about kos. If it comes up, I'll talk to you about that. There is a rule to prevent a repeating situation called the ko rule. If it comes up, I'll introduce it, but it's just unnecessary complex. But the way a tie works is you have 3 of these kos that even the rule can't cover. The rule states the board cannot look exactly like it did last turn, and if you have 3 of them, then it won't look like it exactly like it did, because you just play one, you play the next one, you play the next one, you go back to the first one, and that will have an infinite loop that will repeat if both players so choose, and that'll be a tie. But it's really, really rare. Okay, so yeah, for my chat, do you want to tell everyone who you are for the end before we close up?
Right, I'm myself, chess grandmaster Arturs Neiksans from Latvia, 4 times Latvian champion, professional chess player, chess coach of over 10 years experience. I'm also author of some commercial databases. I'm streaming chess for 1 year, and I'm just a professional chess player. So I'm very, very happy to take the first steps in Go.
Awesome.
Sounds interesting.
All right, so a little bit about me. I'm a Go instructor. I'm a professional Go instructor. I am not a professional Go player. There's a big difference. I did not take the exam and pass it, but I do make a living teaching Go. So I've been teaching Go for about a year now, professionally, but I've been teaching Go unprofessionally for about 10 years. And I've been playing Go for maybe like 14. I lost count. So many years. And I stream Go. Right now I'm streaming 3 days a week. I stream my lessons, and I also stream game reviews. I haven't been playing very much. I've been trying to do event organization and stuff like that, and just help the Go community. And I'm interested in collaborating with chess players in the chess community, and just making more friends, and sharing like-minded views. I don't know. So yeah, very happy that we did this. Thank you so much for getting back and taking the time to collaborate. I think it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was interesting. I look forward to do more collabs at some point later. And myself, I'm also streaming 3 times a week at the moment. I can do it more. A very busy schedule. And normally I stream on Wednesdays, Fridays, Sundays at late afternoon European time, so something like 5 p.m. Central European time. So for Americans, I imagine that's in early morning. Mm-hmm. And I solve puzzles on Wednesdays. I do sometimes some educational stuff about chess. I call them boot camps. I have a playlist on my YouTube channel. It's still small, but that's the way I like it. And occasionally I'm organizing arenas in chess tournaments for my chess club here in chess.com. And I'm playing on chess.com. So if you want to see me in action, please come over here on Twitch. Just find my username, and hope you'll like it. Yeah.
Awesome. Right. So yeah, thank you so much for the collab. And thanks everyone for watching. And hopefully everyone enjoyed. And I will see you guys when I see you.
Yep. Yeah, thank you. Take care.
Have a good one.
Yep. Take care.